As harvest continues across the state of Iowa, the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network crew is out and about giving you a glimpse into the harvest process. In this week's stop on our Beck's Hybrids Harvest Tour, Andy Petersen heads to southeast Iowa to visit with Marc Nollen in Cedar, Iowa.
Mark, how's harvest going for you so far?
So far good. We're just getting started, really.
What have you been seeing?
Corn, we haven't done any beans yet. Corn yields 30, 40 bushel over APHs. Really good. Moistures are 19 to 20. 114-day corn.
Now, is that average for your growing season in your area, that maturity?
Yeah, we'll plant a lot of 112 to 116-day hybrids.
Talk to me a little bit about your growing season. How was planting? How's moisture been? Heat? All that good stuff.
Oh, we started out early, had good moisture in the ground. Middle of May, it started to rain. We had quite a bit of rain the middle of May, which delayed us for 2 or 3 weeks. And then June turned extremely dry. And then July we had 8 inches in about 2 weeks, which saved us. And then August was just, if you could catch a rain, you were lucky type of thing. We did catch some decent showers in August that I think have probably really helped.
Talk to me a little bit about your operation. Obviously, somewhat unique filling the bags as well.
Yeah, we started that last year. I did it for a storage standpoint, pick up some of the carry in the market, hold some corn. That was probably the wrong thing to do last year. It makes harvest go so much faster. You just set a bag and fill it. You put 23,000 bushel in a bag and move on to the next bag and do it right there in the field. So far, it seemed to work really well. It's not a long-term storage. You've got to get the bags cleaned up.
Relatively minimal damage then from the bagger, and
no damage from the bagger. No. As far as moisture goes, whatever you put it in is what you take it out. Like now we're putting 19% corn in the bag. It'll come out at 19%. It seals the oxygen off. It comes out exactly like it did before. It's running in the almost 300 dry.
Yeah, I'm watching it. 297. 304, there we go.
There we go.
Pretty good Beck's number that you got here.
Yeah. This number, I believe you can plant it at a little bit lower populations. This is really good ground for our area. It does really good on good ground, and then it also does good if you put it on some little rougher ground. You can thin the population, and it's got a lot of flex in the ear. It'll put on if your populations are low or you get something in the spring that reduces your population, it'll compensate for it. Has good dry down. We're picking 114-day corn, and it's 19.1 right now. So it was actually a week and a half ago. It was a few points drier than 61.28, which would be 110, 111-day hybrid.
Talk to me a little bit about the agronomy, practical farm research at Beck's, and I'm sure your dealer's pretty supportive as well.
Dealer's real supportive. I started with Beck's when they came to Mount Pleasant. When they came to Iowa, I think, when was that? 2014,
I believe. I was on that. I toured that plant when they bought it.
Okay, so I think I started then or the next year. I'd kind of always had a curiosity about Beck's. When you drive from Burlington into Illinois, I think there's a little town of Biggsville. There was a machine shed that the whole side of the shed had Beck's billboard painted on it. And I can remember asking my wife, I said, look that up once and see because you get into Illinois and you'd see all these signs, and I'm like, why don't we have that in Iowa, you know? And I had already researched it before they came to Iowa, and I'd already kind of determined I really liked what the company stood for and just the way they were organized, and then they ended up buying the plant at Mount Pleasant, and I guess the rest is history. As far as agronomy goes, they've got so many varieties, but yet certain varieties are tailored for your area. You know, this hybrid might not work in another place that grows a lot of 114-day corn. But they've got enough varieties that they can tailor them towards southeast Iowa, northern Missouri. And they'll tell you, if I pick a variety out of a book, the agronomist will tell you, yeah, that's more for Nebraska, or that's more for Indiana. You really, we've tried it here and it doesn't work for this area. So there's a lot that helps a lot, selected varieties. So I try to select varieties per field, and if I do that with Beck's, their catalog, it really gives you a lot of options.
So I got to ask you, Mark, about this big corn head, because that's one thing that everybody has commented on so far. And 16 row, 30, 40 feet wide. I'm sure there are other reasons than being cool that you got it.
So when my dad farmed, we always had 2 combines and 2 6-row heads, and then 2, I don't remember, 20, 25 foot bean heads. And once you got to the field, it worked, but just the amount of moving equipment, servicing, if you get a breakdown, you not only stop one combine, but you might have to stop the other one to help fix that one. I went from a 24 row planter to a 16 row high speed and gained acres per hour doing that. When I went to a 16 row planter, I actually went back to an 8 row and with 1 combine, and I was just running my tail off. The grain carts were sitting there waiting. Everything seemed like it was waiting on the corn head. So we made the decision just to step up to a 16 row and see how it works. There's a few neighbors around that have them, and it always seemed like it worked good for them. It is wide. You have to take it off to go through creek crossings and go down the road, sneak through the road. You take it off, but when you get out in the field, even small fields, it's a huge advantage just to open up a small field with it.